Cage, always something happening in football, of course. Warren Tredrea has announced his retirement.
Yes.
And the big fella, 31 years old, didn't play this year after round 7. It took the club, Cage, 10 games to get to round 17 before they could win one without the champ. 4 times All-Australian, 7 times the leading goal kicker.
Unbelievable.
4 times club best and fairest. I mean, he's played 255 games, 549 goals. Would be the greatest player the club has ever had. Perhaps with Gavin Wanganeen, you could argue, but Tredrea has probably been the one. Funny situation, Cage. He debuted in 1997 round 2 against Essendon and finished his career against Essendon at Etihad Stadium.
Look, he's been a wonderful player. In my view, their best player ever, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm not surprised seeing the severity of the injury that Tredrea's copped in round 7. It's sad that he's leaving the game this way. Would be nice, and I know he didn't want it to have a farewell game. But having said all that, you can take nothing away from the fact that, in my view, that Tredrea's always played the game in the right spirit, and undoubtedly, in my view, again, was Port Adelaide's greatest ever player. So he leaves the game on a big high, that's for sure.
I'll say this, Cage, if you wanted to hand a DVD to young players on how to prepare yourself through your journey in the AFL and prior to a game, he would be the ideal man to give some footage to any young kid coming in to play footy. Well done, Tredders. Hope you enjoy the next phase of your life, Cage. Of course, on the weekend, Sunday twilight game, Crows up against the Power. Showdown 29. Crows down by 19 points. Probably shot themselves in the foot to have any chance now of playing in the top 8.
Well, I'm not going to say the Crows were hopeless, even though they were, because that would be taking too much away from Port Adelaide, who, to me, were far more committed, and this hurts me to say this, far more committed than the Crows. There was no doubt that you saw from what every Port Adelaide player did, from number 1 down to number 22, how committed they were to winning that game of football yesterday. The Crows didn't have the same commitment. Their kicking and inaccuracy in front of goals has been bugging them all year. It bugged them again yesterday early in the game, and that was a golden opportunity gone begging by the Crows, and that's taking nothing away from Port Adelaide. They were super.
All right, you're right, Cage. In front of goals was the big problem. On set shots for the Crows, 4 goals, 8 out of their set shots. For the Power, 10 goals, 1. There's the game right there. In its simplest form, it did look like when the ball was on the ground that the Power players were prepared to throw their body in, get over the top of it, and that gave them a little bit of edge. But the Crows came back at them, Cage, got it back to 14 in the last quarter, so it was a good effort from the Power to withhold that and then kick away. Dom Cassisi was certainly deserved to get the Showdown medal. Dean Brogan couldn't have been too far away, Cage. He rucked for over 80% of the game, went at it with Marriage and Griffin banging at him. I thought he was a big factor in their win.
No, it's a big win for Port Adelaide in their 9 losing stretch. So look, full marks to Matty Promise. There's a big tick for Matty Promise. He wants the job on a full-time basis as from next year. So look, big ticks there, but from the Adelaide Football Club's point of view, have they now given up the chance of competing in September? Mathematically, they can still do it, but if they play like they played yesterday, they won't do it.
All right, Richmond, Bulldogs, Brisbane, Collingwood, St Kilda coming up next. So tough run. Coach, can I ask you, this is a twilight game. It looked like a lot of the players were having trouble with the sun. The sun was hitting for probably 2 quarters right in the eyes of a lot of the players. I didn't think that was too good for the players. Only 36,700 at the game.
Well, it tells the AFL, and the AFL have said this themselves, that they won't program twilight matches in Melbourne because they don't work. And it simply doesn't work in Adelaide. 36,000 at 10 of the game when there were, I think, over 49,000 tickets sold. What does that say to you, for goodness sake? We don't want twilight matches. Don't give it to us. Stinks.